Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. In this episode, I'm going to be talking to a friend of mine named David Jackson. He was a church boy, and he went bad, right? I want to talk about that and his journey, how it became a reality for him that landed him in prison for a lot of years. And this is going to be an interesting story. I hope that you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So what's up, David?
What's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man.
Yeah, before we get started, man, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to do this for me.
Of course.
I really appreciate that. I think a lot of people are going to get some good stuff out of your story, right? Because it's one of those that a lot of us can relate to, you know, growing up in the church, being around family members that are in the church, and how that life and being raised a certain way can sometimes push you away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's almost like the story of the prodigal son, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you can always come back home.
Yes, you can.
And this is a good story. So tell us where you're from. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from before we get to it.
All right, my name is David Jackson, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah. And how long have you been locked up, David?
I've been locked up 15 years.
15 years. This your first time in?
No, it's not.
How many times you been locked up?
3.
3 times.
Third time, yes.
So a total of 15 years, though.
Well, no.
How many years total?
Total probably around about 28, 29 years.
28, 29 years, in and out.
In and out.
And this last time is 15.
Yes. Now, this last time was the 20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
You just a frequent flyer then, ain't you?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Getting
I am.
all kind of
Sad to
miles,
say
right?
so, but yes.
Yeah. I hate that too, but life is what it is, right?
Yes, it is.
When you get lemons, make lemonade, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, what was your early childhood like?
My early childhood, man, just looking back on it, it was good. It was strict. Being raised by a grandmama.
Why were you being raised by your grandmother?
My mother gave me up the day I was born. Was the story I was told. And
Okay.
I was put in a box and put on her porch. Grandmama being nosy, looking out the window and looked down. There I was in a box.
Well, you better be glad she was nosy.
And yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Do you know why?
Well, my mother, she was an alcoholic.
Okay.
She was on drugs real bad. So, I hated her at first, but as I got older, I realized that she did what she knew was the best thing for me. She couldn't raise me.
Yeah. So did you ever have a relationship with your mom?
No, I didn't.
As you grew up? So you never knew her?
Yeah, I knew it. I would see her in the streets and stuff like that. But
Did you ever talk to her?
No, we did more fighting each other. than anything.
More fighting?
Yeah. I'd throw rocks at her. She'd catch me and slap me. I'd throw another rock. Matter of fact, she taught me how to fight.
Really?
Yeah. But just having a son and mother relationship, that never happened.
Never happened. Did you know your father?
No, I did not.
Okay, so go ahead. Tell us about your grandmother and how she raised you.
Grandma. Granny was, she was good at taking care of me. She made sure I had everything I need for as clothes, food, a roof over my head. But Granny was strict, and from my understanding, that's how she was raised. So she raised me the way she had been raised. Me being a male child, she would whoop whatever she could put her hands on. It didn't matter whether it was a extension cord, a belt, whatever. Which I look back on it was a good thing. But I got to a certain
You think
age.
so?
Yeah.
Why you think that was a good thing? Tell me why.
When I look back on myself, I was kind of rebellious. And that was the only way she knew to discipline me. Now,
wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let's explore that just for a quick second. I don't want to interrupt your flow, but you say that you think that was a good thing, and then you said that was the only way she knew to discipline.
Right.
But how did it work out for you?
Well, I ended up rebelling against her.
Right. So that's what let's explore that just real quick. That's what I'm trying to get to. I think a lot of people believe that corporal punishment, that's what that is.
Exactly.
They think that corporal punishment works. But I'm surrounded by people that were raised that way. You know, I got whoopings too. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but if they work, or if they are as effective as people like to romanticize and say, then why are we here?
Amen. Amen.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get you to change your mind on that or
Right,
anything.
right.
And I understand people do what they know. And you say, granted, that's the only way she knew to discipline.
Yes, sir.
But
That's right.
it's something to be said for, you know, revisiting history and saying that she did the right thing. This is, and I'm not saying that she did the wrong thing.
Right.
What I'm saying is the results speak to whether something was right or wrong.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
So the results ended up with you here.
It did. It did.
You know, so, but anyway, I understand why you're saying it's the right thing. You love Granny. And you're looking back knowing that you were rebellious and you're trying to say, you know, she did the best she could.
Right. Let me say this, Joe.
Okay, go
This
ahead.
was a 68-year-old lady
Oh.
who started raising me.
Oh, she was
She
68.
was 68 when she
Yeah,
got
that's
me.
what she know.
And so the only thing she knew to do was to whoop you. You know, of course, as I got older, I began to realize that wasn't going to keep going on. And I
Okay,
rebelled
go
against
ahead.
it.
Mhm.
Around the age, somewhere around 16 years old, I actually had told her, I said, you can't hit me no more. You know, that's and it broke her. You know, she just
Okay, but let's back up real quick. Let's back up before 16, right? Your childhood. What was the neighborhood like that you grew up in?
nurturing.
The neighborhood was a nurturing
very,
neighborhood?
Very nurturing. You had a lot of elderly people stayed in the neighborhood, and they wouldn't mind telling you, you know, what you doing was wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I call Granny and tell her what they saw me do.
Right.
You know, and so we had a lot of good people in the neighborhood.
You attended church on a
I
regular
attended
basis?
church on a regular basis every Sunday.
Every Sunday?
I grew up in the church.
Did you enjoy it?
No. No,
You
I
didn't?
not. No, I did not.
Oh.
I did not. Because it was like, saw like what was going on at home. You know, they told you what to do. They told you when to stand up. They told you when to sit down. And we didn't have a lot of participation in it. You know, we just sit through it. And at the end of it, then you go home and you wait till the next Sunday and do the same thing over again.
Same thing.
For as what they was teaching or preaching, I didn't understand none of it.
You couldn't get it?
I just didn't get it. You know, it didn't make sense to me. So
What kind of church did you go to?
It was Methodist church.
Methodist church.
Small church.
Mhm.
And we had a pastor that was, I guess, to me, he sounded like a taskmaster most Sundays. You know,
Right.
He would hoop and holler, and we'd leave, and I was just glad to get out of there to get away from the noise.
Right.
But I also had an older brother, Joe, that was raised with me.
Yeah.
And his path in life took a different path.
You had the same mother?
Yes, same mother.
Okay.
Different fathers. But he went into ministry.
Hmm.
You know, yeah.
Methodist?
And so that tells me
Was
something.
it Methodist?
Methodist, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the age of 19, they actually sent him to school. As of right now, he has his own church in Memphis.
Okay.
Pretty good sized church.
Right.
But my path, I was more interested in, I like to be excited about things. That's one reason I veered out to the streets. My first experience was smoking marijuana. I thought that was exciting.
How old were you then?
I was around 16.
About 16?
About 16 years old, yeah. So I ran around with older guys. Of course, I was going to be exposed to a little bit more. Some of these older guys were robbers, thieves, or whatever. And it grew on me. That was exciting to me, taking a chance of doing something and actually getting away with it. These was the beginning of my crime years.
A few minutes ago, before we get to that, a few minutes ago you said something about, you know, when you were 16, you told Granny not to
Yeah.
hit you anymore. What was that about?
Well, at 16 years old, you know, you got a girlfriend and you cautious about how you look. You know, you don't want your face all scarred up. Granny didn't care where she hit you at. You know,
She just hit
as
you.
long as she could hit you, yeah. And usually it was with a extension cord. You know, you get whips and stuff with a extension cord. And so I grabbed the extension cord one day, wrapped it around my hand, snatched it out of her hand. And I'd been trying to get my older brother to tell her that she need to stop that. They need to stop. I understand English. I understand whatever it is she want me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't do it. So that was my way of doing it. And upon doing this, she became just disgusted. She cussed me out, put me out the house for a day or so. But it broke something in it. I could see it. But I didn't know no other way to tell her that's over with. I had felt something rising up in me to want to hit back, and I didn't want to do that. This is the person that, sick or well, she took care of me. She taught me
Right. You
how to
want
have
to
an
do
account.
that.
This old lady. These are things she did for me. Made sure I had clothes. Made sure I had something to eat. So, make a long story short, I told her that them days was over with, and she just kind of let me run freestyle as I wanted. She basically really didn't have nothing else to do with me on that. She, made sure I had somewhere to lay my head, made sure I had something to eat. But the lights went out, so to speak.
She gave up on you?
She really did. She really did. And I didn't just go off rampant.
Did y'all ever talk about that?
No. There was no conversation on that. I wasn't going to initiate it, and I'm quite sure she wasn't either.
Yeah.
She felt she had did all she could do. She felt that anything else, she didn't know what else to do, really. Her way of telling you that's not a good thing to do, that might have a bad outcome, was to hit you.
Right.
And like I told her, I said that's why you send me to school, to understand English. So you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. And
but I mean, let me play.
Mm-hmm.
Let me come to her defense a little bit. So you were always into stuff, or I mean, she just wasn't up and hitting you for nothing, right?
Mischievous. It's just like any
kid growing up, right? But she didn't have the patience to talk. She was all about pop you upside your head.
Right.
Okay, I get it.
And being from the age of, say, 8 or 9, and to me that was beatings. That wasn't no whooping. That was
she putting you down.
Yeah, that was being.
Well, you got to lay down in the bed.
You got stripped naked.
Oh no.
Yeah, you got to get naked, and she'd whoop you, until she felt that she got a point across.
Right.
So understand that growing up with that it got to a point where I felt it was going to turn into something else with me.
You got tired of it.
I'm a male child, and so it somewhere along there, I'm gonna eventually tell you can't hit me no more, and that's what happened, So and I didn't mean it to be disrespectful, I was tired of that part of it.
You're tired of it.
Yeah. But as far as her way of, she never said she loved you, but she showed it, she showed it. So
I get it.
Yeah, so Joe, 16 years old, I started running the streets a little bit, staying out late at night. That was my introduction to marijuana. I began to smoke marijuana, began to drink a little beer, began to run around with the older guys in the neighborhood. And of course that opened up another.
That's when you got introduced to the crime, huh?
That's when criminal, that's right.
What was your first crime that you committed?
My first crime was robbing a drunk man. He had been in the bar drinking, and we'd go to the bar and wait for him to come out. We probably got maybe $30 at the most.
Clipped him.
But I was hooked.
Was it a violent one, or how'd you get it from?
We hit him. Yeah, for him it was,
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, how did you do it? What was it? Y'all beat him up and took it?
Yeah, basically.
Just you and another friend.
Me and another friend.
So you got about $15.
Yeah, about $15 a piece.
So, but it felt good. You got a rush out of it.
To be honest with you, I did. To me, that was exciting.
That power over somebody else.
Power, right? Exactly. And so that continued on for a while. Eventually we got caught. I got caught, rather. So I went to Juvenile.
Right.
Yeah. And
what was that like?
I didn't like it. My first experience, you sit down and raise your hand if you want to say anything, raise your hand if you want to go to the bathroom or whatever. And all I could ask was, where the phone at? I want to call Granny.
Yeah. So she talked to you while you were there?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
She come get me. And 3 times she came and got me. The 4th time she said, you can stay there. And so,
what would you tell her those 3 times for her to come and get you? What would you say?
I'm sorry.
I ain't gonna do it no more.
I ain't gonna do it no more.
The typical stuff.
No more,
Yeah.
And in spite of me, saying stuff like that, it always happened again.
When you were telling her that, were you being honest with her at the time that you were sorry you wouldn't do it
I
again?
really was. I thought I was anyway. First of all, my first experience in juvie, that was horrible.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
What was it like? Tell me what your experience was like.
Well, it seemed like I was the littlest guy in there, and everybody else was bigger than me. And that was something I didn't like. I felt traumatized.
Oh, you traumatized now.
Yeah. But this the same
you out here
guy
jumping on, you jumping on dudes drinking,
exactly.
but then you get in there and you get traumatized by the experience.
Yeah. So 2 or 3 rounds of that right there. Of course, it landed me there for a while. I ended up staying for a year, and you learn a lot of things in juvenile, because other guys tell you about their stories, about the things they're doing in the street, the things that got them there, and somewhere along the way, some of them are interesting,
Educating the game.
Educating, that's right. Yeah. I got out. Granny told me, said, you need to get you a job, find you somewhere to stay.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 17.
What was school like? Were you still in school?
I went to school.
What were your grades like?
School. I made an A average, Joe, believe it or not.
You out ripping and running, robbing, going in and out of juvenile, and you kept an A average.
Yeah, but and don't get me wrong, this was a strong lady, but there was no male in the picture. You know what I'm saying? Role model to say when you do this, then this is what's gonna happen to you. From his point of view, his strength, and I truly believe that if there had been a male in the picture, just the voice alone probably would have changed my mind on doing some things.
Right.
But with Granny was a soft-spoken woman, and her voice was a whip, and like I said, that eventually played out. So, I thought I was I could do what I want to do, but around 17 years of age. Of course, one thing, let me get back to school. One thing that I did, I dropped out in the 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
In the 12th grade. Got caught smoking marijuana, me and a couple other guys.
At the school?
At the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was suspended. I could have went back, but I chose not to. And, I actually got my GED after I came to prison. Aced it.
Yeah.
Aced the test.
Right.
Aced the test. So I did stupid things. I wasn't stupid, but I did stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, doing crime, I got an appetite for it.
What other kind of crimes were you doing other than the robbing, the winos?
We steal cars.
Stealing cars?
Yeah, we took cars.
Joyriding?
We were breaking trains and stuff like that. We found out what certain trains had in them, where they were closed and stuff like that.
Yeah. Then you get this stuff and sell it?
I even got caught, matter of fact, breaking in one train. At least I was the only one that got caught.
Right.
Got caught up in some bushes, and they took me down to the railroad station they had up there, the detective, and said, okay, so who all was with you? So I was going to man up and say, I was just me. I don't know them other guy.
Right.
A couple of licks with a club changed that.
Yeah, he popped it upside your head, didn't he?
On everybody. I told on everybody. So they said, why you tell on? I said, well, you were the one that got hit with that club. Yeah. So all that stuff went out the window.
Yeah. What happened to y'all for that, though?
So they gave me, I think it was a year or something. Cause they got all the stuff back.
Yeah. So all of y'all end up getting a year.
And all us getting, yeah.
So I guess corporal punishment worked in that case, huh?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, Joe. Yes, it did.
You said you needed a strong male figure.
Well, I didn't mean like that.
Well, you got what you asked for.
I did. Yeah,
but let me ask you this. So how was that when y'all went away for that year and a half? And all of the guys that were with you, told on them. What was that? What was your relationship like with them?
Well, one of them was my cousin. One of them was
Kim. Oh, okay, it's family.
Yeah, one was family. And we didn't get into it. We
it was just
about it. Thought it was funny.
Yeah, kept it moving.
Kept
it moving, man.
And
it's good.
So fast forward a little bit, I did a robbery, robbed a jewelry store, me and another fella. And
This is after you got out.
Yeah, it's after I got out.
You full-fledged criminal
Yeah,
now.
oh yeah, yeah. I done picked up a gun now. Yeah.
What made you pick up a
And,
gun?
I don't know.
Just thought that
I
was
just
one of the
thought
things
that
you
was,
gotta have if you.
something to have to make people comply.
Got it.
I felt that they would say, yeah, he means what he say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that because I think back to what you said about the first time you robbed dude for the $30.
Mm-hmm.
You got that. It gave you a rush. You felt that power, right?
It did.
And as we graduate in the game, we pick up the other things that continue to give us that feeling, like a gun.
Right.
A gun makes you feel powerful.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
you really don't understand what's going on when you're in the midst of it, but that's what that's about. You know what I mean?
Right.
But go ahead.
You can't see the consequences that it's
No,
gonna
you
bring
can't see
in
what's
your
coming.
life.
No.
And so around 19 years old was when I decided to pick up a gun and do a robbery. In Memphis, Tennessee, it was a jewelry store, family owned, and I figured they had a lot of money. And talked to another guy that I knew, grew up with, and he likewise agreed with me. So our plan was to go in right after they opened up, really before anybody showed up, and rob the place. But when we got in there, the guy resisted, even with the gun in his face, And of course that scared me because I didn't go there to shoot nobody. I just meant to hope the gun would do the job.
Yeah.
Just seeing. But this guy said, man, he wasn't giving us nothing. So I shot up in the air. That changed his mind. But now I'm the guns I think had more fear, put more fear in me than it did him.
Yeah. Gun went out.
Yeah. So I'm going to hurry up and get out of there, my friend. He's trying to get the money and whatever else he can get, and I'm already at the door, And well, little did we know they had a silent alarm, and we got out of the jewelry store. We got about a block or two. We on feet, and we didn't know they had surrounded the neighborhood,
Yeah.
And of course they caught us, and armed robbery. Well, I made the big house then.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I made the big house then.
How much did you get that time?
I got 10 years. Yeah, got 10 years.
How much did you do on it?
I did 6.5 years.
What was that like?
That was hell. Yeah, that was hell.
Did you call Granny?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
And of course she didn't answer.
She didn't answer the phone?
No, she didn't answer.
Yeah.
No, she didn't answer. But so I got a different type of raise, and I got introduced to what having your freedom taken away from you.
Absolutely.
Telling you when to get up, when to lay down, when you can eat, when you can shower. And of course, there were a lot of guys in there who were pretty mean,
Yeah.
And that was another thing. So I was dealing with. I just say I had the little man complex about
Right.
it,
Right.
And like I said, it grew me up fast in some ways.
Get in a lot of fights?
You had to one fight.
One fight.
One fight. And so
Did you win?
No, I lost.
You
lost.
You just go skip
But
right on over that.
I gave it all I had. Yeah. Matter of
Well,
fact,
you got as long as you stand up.
Me and that guy actually became good friends.
Yeah, as long as you stand up.
But
Yeah.
that's the life we live. So
Yeah.
I got out, stayed on parole probably another year and a half or something.
Yeah.
Got off with good behavior, whatever, and actually kind of got my life on track. Got me a job, got a good job, working for a profane company. But I have a disease called Crohn's disease, and that's about the time it hit me.
Yeah.
I never heard of it, didn't know nothing about it. But when I went to the doctor, got throwing up and having a lot of irritable with my stomach. Come to find out, the doctor said you got Crohn's disease. I said, what is that? He said, well, it's the inflammation of your lower intestine.
Okay.
And we're gonna put you on medication that should kind of help you out. There's no cure for it, but it'll put a bandage on the topic, so to speak, called prednisone, which is a steroid. Prednisone, they put me on 50 milligrams. I didn't know nothing about steroids or anything else. But stayed on this, I guess for about 4 or 5 years, which is an extremely high dosage to be on for prednisone. And as good as it was, it calmed my symptoms down, and I was able to work. And then it'd flare up again. I had to go in the hospital, stay in the hospital, and I eventually lost that job, of course, because of the prednisone, because of going in the hospital, in and out.
So you wasn't committing any crimes at this
No,
point.
no,
You
no,
were doing.
no,
You
no. I
was
was
straight.
working. I was driving a tanker truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Now you lost the job
Crohn's
because you was
disease,
in and out of the
in and out
hospital
of the
because of your
hospital, right,
Crohn's.
right. Well, this man would pay me, man. I stayed in the hospital 6 months, and he still pay me regular pay because I was a good worker. You know, I was always there. But eventually, you know,
He had to let you go.
he's gonna have to let you go, and that's what happened. I lost my job, and so I moved in with my older brother for a while. Lord help him. And by this time he's preaching, his ministry is going on, you know, and everything. So he know my lifestyle, and I knew what he wasn't going to tolerate in his house.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Now you said you had been working, so when you moved back in, you had with your brother. When you moved in with your brother, had you decided to go back to your old ways?
No, not yet, not yet.
But he was letting you know at the jump.
But he was letting
we
me
ain't
know
finna play.
that this is house, this is rules. You know, you come in at a reasonable time, and you go look for your job. You know,
Right.
He understood the disease. You know, because we had been informed on how bad it can be and whatever. Matter of fact, they tell you that past 10 years, you know, you usually don't do too good.
Right.
Your situation is usually death. That's how they tell you. But I think I went. Yeah, matter of fact, I went and got a job at McDonald's. That lasted about 2 years. The Crohn's kicked back in, and there we go again. So I started back robbing. You know, I started back holding people up. I held up a convenience store, got away with it. You know, I had a little sense then to put a mask on. The first time I wasn't wearing no mask. We just run up in there and do something.
Right.
But eventually I got caught. I got a 2-year term for robbery, and this was simple robbery because I didn't have a gun. I just went and told him, man, I need your money. Give me your money, and I pretended like I had a gun. So that was like $200 or whatever. Went on, and life introduced me to something else.
What was that?
Drugs.
Oh.
Hard drugs. I found out that cocaine minimizes the symptoms. Understand, Crohn's disease has a pain that is like no other. Only way I know to describe it is somebody heat a piece of iron up and stick it in your stomach.
Right.
That's the only way I know to describe it. I found out cocaine numbed the pain. So here we go. It began with powder, snorting. That led to something else. That led to crack cocaine. Oh boy.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Down here real fast.
So how long were you on the cocaine?
About 15 years.
15 years.
15
How were
years,
you paying for it?
Yeah. Hustling.
Hustling. You all the way in the streets at this point.
All the way, all the way. I knew to look for work, you know.
Periodically.
So I would work for restaurants, washing dishes, doing whatever they needed me to do. And it paid good. Of course, all the money went right back into drugs. So yeah, I'm out there now. Yeah, I'm way out there now. And the cocaine is doing the trick for the Crohn's disease.
Right.
Yeah, no
So you
pain,
feeding
no
that.
hurt, no nothing. And so you know, I mean, family's trying to get me to, you know, change my life, go into rehab or whatever. And I did. I went into rehab.
You addicted at this point, though.
Very, very much addicted. Very much addicted. You know. And so, in other words, I'm not nobody's friend, family or not. It didn't matter. I used my talent a lot to get in churches.
What talent are you talking about? Tell the people. They don't know.
I'm a musician. I play guitar.
You're a musician.
Yeah.
Okay.
And churches, vulnerable as they are, I would talk my way in there and play the music for them and get money. Of course, that money went to drugs. and I would church people, God help them, would go for those sad stories, you know, and I was good at it, you know. I'd sell them a story, tell them I need my meds and I need this much money and whatever. And anyway, that went on for a good while until I did another robbery, and this robbery was the bigger. This is the one that landed me here today, and I actually robbed 3 stores within 30 minutes.
Oh, you rolling back to back.
Yeah. Went down the street. I robbed a Circle K, and then I robbed a Wonder Bread outlet. And understand these people had been seeing me because I'm out there in the streets. They see me hustling. Circle K tell me sweep up the lot, we pay you. Wonder Bread, same thing, you know, clean up the back, help organize, we pay you. So they didn't consider me a threat.
Yeah, they trusted you.
Yeah, they trusted me. And of course, never say what you won't do. But I robbed them, didn't even have a mask on, Joe.
Yeah.
And went on to the drug house and bought my drugs. I told them, I said, the police probably coming, y'all. And they said, you already think the police coming. That's a sign they say when you're doing drugs, you better see the police.
Right, paranoid.
But anyway, they did. Then somebody directed them to the house where I had went. And they came and got me. And out of this, I gained a 35-year sentence. And here we go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. Best thing could have happened. Best thing could have happened, Joe. Because I knew then that, you know what I'm saying, that I gave it up. You know, I gave up.
So let me tackle that real quick, because I hear a lot of people say that. So in your mind, if you didn't come here, you would not have. You probably be dead by now.
No problem in it. Yeah.
Right.
Rehab didn't work for me. I even went in some rehabs and got to the point where I was telling them how to work the program.
Yeah. So what is it about this that makes you say this is the best thing that could have happened to you?
When I look back on it and see that I was doing something that either somebody was going to kill me, you know what I'm saying, or the drug was going to kill me.
Okay, that's no deal. That could happen in here. So
yeah, but when I got here, this time, I was so broke down until I didn't even think about drugs.
So what is it about coming here that made you see yourself as broke down? Because you was broke down out there. So what made you see it?
This brokenness was different because not only was I broke, I was broke because first of all my ability, all my power was took from me. Even the coming in and then when they tell you got to cut your hair, you got to cut your beard off, you got to squat, you got to cough, all these things right here, they had a more profound effect on me this time. When the judge told me the amount of time I was going to get, that shook me to my core. That I'm going to be in here 30-some years. Understand this 100% sentence, so you don't get no good time off. You don't get good days.
Right.
Yeah. And so I looked at it as, man, this is the ultimate screw up right here. And it hit me so deep until I was smoking cigarettes. I quit smoking. The day I got here, I quit smoking. There's drugs in prison. Everybody know that. It's really available.
No question.
If you have a talent, also I'm an artist. I do poetry. So this was one way I support myself. I could get drugs anytime I got ready. Of course, they was offered to me, but I can't explain it. The taste was gone. Is all I can say.
Yeah.
Me doing whatever I did and putting myself in this position, it broke that part of me. To this day, I don't want to have nothing to do with it.
Get it? I get it.
They're around. They're where I stay at in the building. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I can proudly say, man, I has to be a higher power.
Yeah.
Because I know it wasn't nothing I did. You know what I'm saying? That smiled on me.
Right. I get that to an extent, but this is one thing about me, David. Before we wrap this up, and I want to thank you for doing this. I really when I hear people say what you said about, you really can't describe what it was, but it was when you heard that judge tell you had 35 years, that really got your attention.
It did. It really
right?
did. It really did.
See, my thing is, like, when we're born, God gives us, or let me flip the words a little bit, sentences us to a certain amount of time anyway.
Exactly.
Right? You know, when you say give, God gives you this, and then sentence man gives you that. You feel what I'm saying? It's something about the sentencing part, taking a man's freedom for so many years, that makes more sense to them and resonates more with the man than God giving you life for X amount of years.
It does.
So it's hard for me to reconcile, man, with the idea that it had to be this. It had to be. That's why I asked you, what made you see it? Because it has to become a recognition of what it is that you have, meaning God's gift of life. It has to be a recognition of that versus a recognition that man in these institutions saved your life.
Right.
And I know that's not what you meant. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't want people to come away from this interview thinking that prisons work like that.
Right.
They're not designed to work like that.
Right.
Did it get your attention? Absolutely. But what is it about these places, these evil, wretched places, that gets our attention more so than the gift that God gave us, that you got life and you can do whatever you want to do. Just follow and find your purpose.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I want people to focus on. Focus more on that for all of y'all out there that's listening. Focus more on what God has given you. He's given you a gift that can't nobody else give you.
Right. That's right.
He gives you a gift of life and a purpose.
Yes, he does.
Find that purpose.
Yes.
Find that purpose, and don't let the things that, like what David talked about in this episode, that sidetracked him, don't let those things sidetrack you to the point to where you stop looking at that gift that God gave you and recognizing and understanding, appreciating that gift that God gave you. Don't get distracted by those things that'll do that, and focus more on the fact that you are a creation of the Most High God.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes,
you are a creation of the Most High God. And it don't take you being thrown in the penitentiary.
No, it doesn't.
To realize your gift. But I understand what you're saying, bro.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I get you. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So this is what I'm going to let you, what advice would you give to those people out there that may be in a similar situation as you were as far as being raised and being tempted to go this way or that way? What advice would you give them as we wrap this episode up?
Glad you asked, Joe. Like you said, God has a path that's already laid out for you. And I understand everybody's not going to go to church or have a religion. But I say that man, if you be good to yourself, be true to yourself, be good to yourself. Being good to yourself means to take care of yourself. It means to, respect yourself, If I respect myself, then I'm going to respect somebody else. And that means that I'm not going to want to take what you got. I want to go and work for myself. That means that, I want to enjoy life, I don't want to wake up every morning and wonder where I'm going to get my next fix at or who stuff I'm going to go take. That right there, that's a sad way to look at life. But understand, embrace life as a whole. Embrace life. Realize that, this life was given. This is a precious thing that was given to you. And you got to take care of it.
Yeah.
You got to take care of it. You're a caretaker.
Yeah.
And that that makes somebody glad to see you coming. You hate to see you go. And why? Because you're a good person. Because it's something that's not just seen, but it's something that's felt too.
Absolutely.
So be good to thyself.
Be good to thyself. Yeah. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap it up and be good to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you, Joe.
This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.